So yeah, Grizzly is, if you don't know, so it's a wooden coaster. 1982. It was built in house, and it's now getting a retrack. It's actually the second retrack it's had. It had one in. It had a little, well, partial retrack. I should
I had
add.
one recently.
It had one in 2016. The first first two hills, but now Gravity Group are going in there and they're doing a bunch of things. They're doing like the turnaround. They're doing the first drop.
Yeah.
They're adding some like airtime, some bunny hills in there and stuff. But I mean, the most interesting thing about it is the fact that they're using this pre-cut engineering track that they used on Racer at Kings Island. And yeah, it's just everywhere I looked about Racer, because they did pretty much like they did like over 6,000 foot of track for Racer. And everyone said it like improved it massively.
Nice.
The Beast had some retrack work by Gravity Group last year, and it's not confirmed. I haven't seen it anywhere that it's confirmed that it was this pre-cut engineering track, but it's in the same park as Racer, so it probably did.
Presume, wouldn't you? They wouldn't put it on another coaster if they'd not done it like before.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
But it's really interesting. McCall, you know a lot about this, don't you?
Yeah, like, and I mean to that point about like not knowing if it's, you know, if it's the pre-cut track method that they use on Beast, like that's what Gravity Group are pushing, and that's what just wooden coaster manufacturers in general are pushing. Like they're all competing with each other for these new like innovative and just more efficient ways of creating wooden coasters, whether they include steel or not, in the case of like Titan Track or RMC's 208 retrack or anything like that. Like they're all trying to better create and, you know, better sustain wooden coasters. So that's what Gravity Group are pushing. So I can't imagine that they would have just used now outdated methods to retrack Beast while also reprofiling parts of it, like the drop into the first drop into the tunnel and stuff.
Yeah,
so it like you would think that they used the same, you know, track design and stuff. But yeah, it's just really cool to see that they're doing this with Grizzly, because Grizzly is a good ride. Like I've ridden it. It was quite rough when I rode it, but like it's a good ride. It's a good layout. It's all like in the woods and stuff. So like it's one of those where it's like you get a you know, like a high speed wooden coaster like just zipping through the woods and stuff.
I can't wait to get on an American Woody.
It's a fun time. It's a real fun time.
I can't wait to get on an American Woody like that. It sounds so good, just disappearing on an out and back. Like it just sounds so good. It really does. Gives great night rides because you can't see shit in there, obviously. And just like it's really cool to see that this kind of, you know, retracking method from Gravity Group is picking up steam in the sense of how many coasters it's being used on, and just to see more methods of preserving these wooden coasters than just RMCing them.
Yeah, and to comment on that, because, you know, obviously when you hear about this new method that they have of pre-cutting the track with a CNC machine, and delivering it on site in bits, you know, people will automatically think, you know, Intamin prefab, all the problems that had. But this one's just, to me, it seems more exciting and more, because the thing is, it's the difference with this is obviously a normal wooden track is this layered on wood like this. Yeah. They're literally flipping it on its side. Yeah. So it's like 30 times stronger, which hopefully will make it last.
Which is a lot.
Yeah. Which is what I mean. It's the same thing Intamin did with the with the
but it's the difference with this is the fact that it's not got the metal caps on the end. That each portion of the track of the Intamin prefab had these metal caps on the end that had to be like put together. So although you're bringing the cost down, that also means it seems like they're there is some work that's done on site to like cut into him to like put together, but it just means that parks are potentially able to recreate this with a joiner. They don't have to just then put an order in for a certain bit of track to then get replaced, which is a big problem with the Intamin prefabs. But also, like, I mean, the potential for that, the fact that it's just a CNC machine, is if these catch on, parks would be able to potentially have their own CNC machine,
build their own
and
code.
then
If they so choose,
and Gravity Group then send them some code to print a certain part of the track when they need to do it. Well, print.
Yeah.
It's not 3D printing, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Right though.
To cut out, 'cause you can get small CNC machines, like, and you can do like a bit. You know, you could do a bit at a time. So you could then do that. So you know, we're talking probably way in the future if it catches on.
Yeah.
But that is like you wouldn't be able to do that with a steel coaster, but you could do that with a wooden coaster. So this like opens up a whole. If this really catches on, this opens up a whole new.
It's like a new technology to maintain them, isn't it? Going forward, it's like a new look at, like, you can't just keep botching things together. You've got to do them right from the start, and then you've got to keep increasing the technology into the way these things are produced and doing that, like what you said there. You know, if they can print off a turnaround that they need because it's getting a bit rough, you know, for the next 5 years, just do it. Done.
One thing I'll say,
Dragon's Den
is
Sean.
you have to like we have to mention, like, one thing we have to mention with this is the marketing side of it as well. One of the, I believe one of the reasons why the Intamin prefabs didn't really catch on as much as they probably should have, as well as them turning out to be quite fucking expensive, was that they were marketed as essentially wooden coasters that didn't need as frequent of
let's be honest. They were basically trying to allude that they're like indestructible.
Yeah,
like,
they did
almost like
Apple.
It was saying like they didn't need just anywhere near as much maintenance as traditional wooden coasters, which has obviously turned out to be a blatant lie.
They literally made the same mistake as saying the Titanic was unsinkable. That's what they did.
You're right. You're right.
Not far off. That's the problem, because I think, and a lot of people think that's the reason why we're suddenly seeing all these problems with the Intamin prefabs. I mean, Colossus had to get a whole. It basically got rebuilt again. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it cost the
did.
same amount of money
than
it did, and the reason they spent so much money, there was expensive coasters to begin with for wooden coasters, because they were saying, well, long term,
and then weren't checked and maintained frequently.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, Colossus is awesome. I do like it, but it's not the best. I'm hoping that Boulder and hoping that Boulder and Altara are better.
Think about it. 3 of the 4 Intamin prefabs that have been made have had to have.
I knew where you were going with that.
Massive work on them.
Yeah.
3 out of the 4. Like,
massively.
So like that has to be taken into account, both in the marketing of these new retracking methods and in the communication between the manufacturers and the parks. Like, parks are still going to have to be doing as much maintenance and checks on these new tracking methods as they have had to do for previous wooden coasters and stuff like that.
So there's a great video
to have the longevity that it's supposed to.
There's a great video on King's Dominion's YouTube channel that explains exactly what they're doing, and I loved it because it's so good that a park is just like telling you exactly what we're doing, like showing you around it and saying, this is what we're doing here, this is what we're doing here. But this is a still from that video showing what they're doing to the new track. So if you can see the top faint line is like the existing profile. They're now basically making it steeper by from 45 degrees to 55 degrees. But they're able to lower it. They're able to lower the track a lot, so they'll be able to do this. So it's pretty significant, really.
It's awesome.
So it's just I was so impressed by, like, that a park just being so open about it and being like, this is what we're doing. It's going to be amazing. And the guy I can't remember his name, but the guy who is like the lead engineer on this, he was like so enthusiastic about it. Like he was like, I grew up with this coaster. He's from like Growing. He's just like, yeah, it was a really, really good video. So I suggest, yes, I bet just check it out.